What's up guys, Josh Mullen here. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'm going to show you how to construct, bleed, and calibrate a hydraulic handbrake for your racing simulator. Now this isn't going to be just your regular analog handbrake. This one is going to be created using a real hydraulic handbrake with a master cylinder and a slave cylinder from a clutch to give you the pedal feel. It's going to use a 1000 psi pressure sensor and a 12-bit controller. Now this handbrake is based on the design of Derek Spears and his Type 3 hydraulic handbrake. Now with the design of this handbrake, assembly is very easy, and the only small fabrication that will be needed to be completed is designing and fabricating a bracket to mount the clutch slave cylinder to the base of the handbrake. I will show you the design that I came up with and give a brief description on how I fabricated. Alright, first things first, I'm going to go over all the individual components you need, and I will provide links in the description on where you can get them. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously a hydraulic handbrake. You can basically use whichever one you want as long as it has a reservoir. Now I went with an ASD hydraulic handbrake because this is the actual hydraulic handbrake that I'm running in my drift car. Also, it already has a built-in reservoir. Next thing you're going to need is a pull type clutch slave cylinder. Now I went with the Wilwood one because this is the same slave cylinder that I have on my main performance PC pedals, and I've had those pedals for about 2 years now and I haven't had a single issue with them, so I went with the Wilwood. Next, you're going to need a braided stainless steel brake line. In my setup, I'm running 3AN everything, so I went with an Earl's 11-inch stainless steel braided line. Next, you're going to need a 3AN and 1/8 inch NPT T-fitting. Now what this does is this allows you to run the hydraulic pressure sensor in line with the brake line. Then you're going to need your 1000 psi pressure sensor. I went with one that I found off eBay. Basically you can go with whichever one you want. It just needs to have the 3 wires, power, ground, and your signal. And the signal needs to be between 0 and 5 volts for your 12-bit controller to be able to read it. Then you are going to need a Fragola 90-degree 3AN female to 3AN female adapter. Next you're going to need a 3/8-24 to 3AN adapter. This will allow you to run the 3AN setup into the slave cylinder inlet. Next you're going to need some type of rubber or polyurethane bushings to run on the pull section of the slave cylinder. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you an actual feeling of a caliper on the other end of the line for the hydraulic handle. Now you can go with whichever type of bushing you want. This is where you can get your handle feel. You know, if you want a real stiff pull, then you would get a higher durometer bushing. If you want a soft pull, you would get a lower durometer bushing. So what I went with is some 60A durometer Longboard bushings by RipTide. Now they offer a huge amount of different types of durometer readings on their bushings. So you know, you can play around with them, different combinations, and try and get the handbrake to feel all you want. Next you're going to need some sort of 12-bit USB controller. Now 2 ones that came to mind when doing research on this was the Derek Spears Designs 12-bit controller and the Leo Bodner 12-bit controller. Now they basically do the exact same thing. You can use whichever one you want. You could go on eBay, get a different one. I went with the Derek Spears Designs one. Now to house and protect the 12-bit controller, you're going to need some kind of plastic housing. Lastly, you're going to need a 3-pin female to female Arduino printer cable. This allows you to connect the pressure sensor to the Derek Spears Design circuit board without any soldering up the board or anything that could potentially damage it. Alright, now once you have all your parts ordered, you've received them, The first and hardest thing you're going to do in this whole process is design and build some sort of bracket that will attach your clutch slave cylinder to the base of your hydraulic handbrake. Alright, now for the ASD handbrake, the easiest design I saw and came up with was this little Z-shaped bracket. Now what it does is it sandwiches in between the master cylinder and the base using the existing nuts. So all I did was cut out a piece of thin sheet metal, then bend it into a Z, drill 2 holes for the bolts that were on the handbrake to go through, and then I drilled 1 single hole here to attach the slave cylinder to. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to prepare your clutch slave cylinder for use. So what you want to do, you want to unscrew this heim, take off this nut and keep it. You're going to reuse it. You're then going to take this boot off because you no longer need it. So you want to get that off. Then what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew this nut from this shaft. You're going to keep that. Then you're going to remove this little washer. Remove this shaft completely, and you will not need it. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 3N adapter, apply some Teflon tape, and tightly screw it in to the inlet of the slave cylinder. Once that is complete, you are going to put the bushings and washers of your liking onto the pull section of the slave cylinder. So now what's nice about these RipTide bushings is that they came with nice washers, 1 for each bushing. So you're going to go washer bushing, washer bushing, and so on until you have all 4 on. Then I took just a smaller washer, put it on the end, then you'll run the 2 nuts that came with the slave cylinder in a locking configuration. Now also with this, what you can do is you can put preload on the bushings, and you can adjust it however you want to get the feel you need. Now this is ready to be attached to your bracket. Alright, now once you have your bracket, this is what you want the bracket to accomplish. Basically just want the bracket to hold the slave cylinder parallel to the base of the handbrake. Alright, now once you have your slave cylinder firmly attached to your bracket, what you're going to do is take your pressure sensor, put a little bit of Teflon tape on it, and firmly screw it into your T-fitting. You're then going to take your 11-inch stainless steel braided line and attach it to one of the 3AN fittings on the T-bracket. Next, you're going to take your 90-degree fitting and you're going to screw it on to the other side of your T-fitting. Now for now, you're going to leave all of these loose so you can get the proper orientation before you go to tighten it down. Screw the hose into the hydraulic handbrake. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bend your braided line like so and attach the 90-degree fitting to the inlet of the slave cylinder. Alright, now once you have it fully assembled, you're going to take a adjustable wrench and you're going to snug down all the fittings. Now, especially with the aircraft fittings, you don't have to kill them. for them to make proper seal. But I mean, obviously you need them pretty tight. Like that. And you want to make sure when you tighten them that you're holding them in place so you keep everything lined up how you want it. Alright, now once you've assembled and tightened everything, you're ready to bleed the handbrake. So first thing you want to do is you want to remove the bushings from the shaft on your slave cylinder. Now the reason you want to do this is so that the slave cylinder has free movement and no resistance when you're bleeding the brake. Alright, so first thing you want to do is you're going to take off your cap and you're going to top it off with whatever type of brake fluid it says to run in your cylinder. Once your reservoir is filled up, you're going to loosen your bleeder on the slave cylinder. This will allow fluid to freely flow through the system. What you want to do at first is basically pump your handbrake until you start to see liquid coming out of the bleeder. Once you do, what you can do is tighten it. Then what you want to do is pump up your handbrake, maybe 3 times or so, and then hold it. While it's being held, you then crack your bleeder. This will allow the pressure to shoot out any air in the system. And then basically you're just going to repeat these steps of pumping and releasing the bleeder until there's no more air coming out, until it's just straight liquid. Once you have straight liquid, then you can reassemble your handbrake by putting back on the bushings, tighten up your 2 nuts and set them tight so they don't come undone. And then you're basically done. All that's left to do is to, mount it to your rig or however you're going to plan on using it, and then calibrating it on your computer before ready for use. So as you can see, when you pull on the handle, the shaft of the clutch cylinder pulls in. Simple hydraulics. So now, as you can see, when you have bushings on here, this will give some resistance and will give you the caliper feel on the handbrake. Alright, so once you've got it firmly attached to your rig, you're ready to calibrate it. Plug in your USB. Windows should automatically recognize that it's a DSD 12-bit controller, and it should automatically install the drivers. Then what you want to do is open up your game control panel. You're then going to find DSD 12-bit controller-ES, or I guess if you got a Leo Bodner one, it would say Leo Bodner 12-bit controller. So you want to click that. You want to go to properties. This window will pop up. Now you want to go over to the settings tab. You want to click reset to default, and then you want to click calibrate. Now this calibration wizard will pop up. You want to click next, and basically, since you're only using one of the axes of the 12-bit controller, you just want to keep pressing next until you get to the Z axis. So here's the Z axis. You're going to check off this display raw data box, and this is how you're going to calibrate your handbrake. So basically you're just going to pull it to where you want 100% to be. So obviously this is personal preference. You could want it to be real far, just a little bit, so whatever. So you want to basically pull it until you think that would be your 100%. So I think that was about good. That read 135% here. But then once you press next and calibrate it, that'll be your 100%. So click next. Then you want to skip over all the other axes. So just keep playing next, next, and then finish. Now, you can see here, Z axis. When you pull this, it's showing. And it's, as you can see, 100%. So now, just press OK there. You would go into your games, calibrate it in there. You're ready to go. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and if you got any questions, drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. I'm going to end the video with a little drifting and a set of course just showing the handbrake in action. Thanks for watching.